All right, next chapter creators. Let's jump on into things. Welcome on into the next chapter lab, version 1.0.0. So, this is the very first launch of the next chapter lab, and it's a resource of the One True Calling community, and it is designed for next chapter creators, people who are at a point of transition or who are being called to something more. And this calling is very natural. It comes at different times in life and sometimes for different reasons as well. So, a next chapter calling could be a calling for something more, and sometimes we don't know what that something more is right away. And that is the problem to initially to solve, is to bring clarity. Because when we start off from a vague and fuzzy sense of what the problem is, what's causing the discontent, or what the calling is saying, then if it's fuzzy and vague, then we end up often in loops of questions that don't really lead anywhere. So we want to bring some clarity to this, and along with clarity, we want to bring confidence into the self reinvention process. So when again you feel this calling for something more, but you don't have all the pieces of the puzzle together, well, that's okay, and that's totally natural. But there is an order of things, and I'm going to give you probably the one thing that is most important when you're reinventing your career, a lifestyle, making some changes in who you see yourself as. The one most important thing I'm going to share inside this video here, along with about four other key steps so that things happen in order. And the first one really has to do with having an understanding of what is going on, what is creating the discontent, because it can come from sometimes one area, but it can also sometimes be a few areas. It could be a health calling, or it could be a career calling, or a lifestyle calling, something that's calling for something more. And the very first thing is to understand where you are right now. And it reminds me, recently in my own life, I had the experience of knowing in my body that something was off in my health. Like, my energy wasn't as high as it could be, and I was needing to take rests more often. So my body just wasn't generating the energy that it normally should. So I knew something was off. So what I ultimately did, after putting things off for a long time, which is pretty common, isn't it? We put things off and procrastinate. But I finally got into action and decided to get some blood tests done to see what my baseline was in different areas. And lo and behold, I thought things were like okay, that things were maybe a little off. Well, it turned out that some indicators were way off, but it wasn't until I did that assessment that I could come to understand where my health was and what needed to be done. So, bringing some clarity to it, bringing some data to it, so that decisions are able to be made, and the confidence comes from knowing where things are at the first place. So then, once you know where you are in a very honest way, and you do an assessment of your most valuable skills, this is a key part of doing a self-assessment, is coming to understand your most valuable gifts and the things that naturally arise and can arise out of your life experience, the things that you're interested in. So there's about 5 things that I wanted to share here. And the first thing is to do things in the right order. And what I'm talking about is, let's say you're making a some type of a lifestyle transition, or you're being called maybe to create a new career direction, or to add things onto your existing business, or to start a new business. Whatever it is that you're being called to create, doing things in the right order. It is often, particularly when it comes to things of career and work, and let's say our sources of income, that rather than coming to first look at what our most valuable skills are, we go to either thinking how we can't do something because we don't have a certification, or whatever it might be that we perceive is in the way. But when we do an assessment first, doing things in the right order. So the self-assessment is the very first step in the self-reinvention process, and will open up your awareness to all the value that is inside of you. That value arises out of your natural gifts and the things that you are naturally good at doing. We call this building on your strengths, and you may be familiar with the Strengths Finder 2.0 assessment, which I highly recommend. But it is coming to understand the things that you're naturally gifted at. And so this is the very first step in the process. And from this self awareness, then it is to build a vision around the things that you're naturally gifted at doing, the things that you're interested in doing, because you can then marry that into a need in the marketplace, or a need in the world, a problem that needs to be solved. Doing something that you're gifted at doing, and that you enjoy doing. So this is the first the first kind of 2 steps. The third step is to, as you're doing a self reinvention, is to do initial kind of what I call kind of rough concept plans, and these are almost like short story scripts that would explore the different areas that you may be interested, different either career areas, or lifestyle, or business ventures. And by doing rough concept plans, well, you can save yourself a tremendous amount of time and effort by roughing it out before you actually invest your time into launching something. The launch comes later, and it comes in the next couple of steps, which is then to narrow down the prototypes, your ideas of what you might want to do, down to ideally one or two. Or sometimes, if you're entrepreneurial, then it could be a group of things, or it could be a group of things that have to do both with your lifestyle and your business. So it might not be simply one thing, but narrowing it down to focus your most valuable skills into one area, like a laser beam, particularly when you're starting something new, because you don't have a lot of resource, most likely, and particularly in time or money. And so you want to be able to laser focus, and to then, in the final step of how I teach and recommend, is to then launch a prototype out into the world. And this could be a new career exploration. So that might look like doing career interviews, research. Maybe you discover you need some additional education, but it is the process of stepping in to that narrowed down direction that you build your vision around. Prototyping in the final step is bringing the idea out into the real world, so that you can test with a minimally viable test prototype or test project. And again, this could be searching for a job, it could be launching an idea, could be just simply making an offer. I talk about this many times to people is that in order to start a business, all you need is an offer. So it could be launching an offer and bringing that out, announcing that to the marketplace and seeing what kinds of reaction you get the evidence that it's the right direction. And it is an iterative process, this reinvention, career reinvention or lifestyle reinvention. But again, remember, it all starts with assessing where you are right now. And so I have a tool set that I call the truth gauges. And it is a very simple way, self intuitive way of assessing where you are in the five different areas of lifestyle design, lifestyle experience. One of those five areas being prosperity, your career, your purpose, your health, your connection to others. There's about five different pieces that we look at and do the self assessment on a scale of 1 to 10. How you're doing in each of those areas. And by the way, if you want to get a copy of the truth gauges, I have it's a very simple PDF. Just drop down into the comments, maybe clarity, and I'll send a link on over to that self-assessment tool. But the truth gauges are like the lab blood tests that I took when finding out about my health. And an assessment like that will just allow you to step back, and you may not like everything that you see initially. And that was my experience with the blood tests, that there were many things that were off and some that were quite a bit more off than I was planning on. Be prepared for that, and be prepared to be shocked as well, because I know I was when I got the truth of those lab tests. But from that point, from that self assessment, then you can take things in the right order. And particularly if you're serious about wanting to reinvent your career or your lifestyle, you want to explore ways to have greater freedom, greater happiness, greater connection to what you enjoy doing. Well, this is a lifestyle design process, and it is some of the most valuable tools that I have ever been exposed to, that have helped me reinvent my own career more than 4 times. And one time in such a way that it made a significant difference in my income because of the career switch that I did. And so this is the self reinvention process, from the doing things in the right order, doing the assessment, and then we build a vision around the lifestyle that you want to create, again based on the feedback and the prototyping that you do in the first 2 steps. And so what I want to leave you with is the most valuable thing in self reinvention is inside of you. It is your skills and your interests in the things that make you uniquely who you are, and allow you to do the things that probably come very natural, but may be quite difficult for other people. If you want to get the copy of the truth gauges, just drop down into the comments, the comment section next to this video. Drop in clarity. I'll send you a link to that. Or if you want to get some insight around your own self reinvention, your own exploration, putting all the puzzle pieces together and creating clarity around the next chapter in your own life, then I do meet with people and offer an initial complimentary clarity call to explore these topics. All right, this is going to finish up this very first exploration into the next chapter lab. And again, its purpose and reason for being explored is to provide some resources and some guidance to help you in your own next chapter creative process.